Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB Bikini Pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today we are speaking with personal trainer, nutritionist, posing coach, and business owner from France who has been an athlete her entire life. As an adolescent, she lost her father and fell into alcohol, drugs, and partying while studying nutrition and electrostim training before discovering bodybuilding, which ultimately changed her life. Since then, she has become an expert in her field, opened several coaching companies, and won her pro card in 2020 before going on to compete in 8 pro shows and qualify for the 2022 Olympia. Outside of coaching and competing, she also sold her business and pursued real estate so she could be a digital nomad and do what she loves from anywhere in the world. I'm really excited to learn from this woman. Welcome to the show, Laura Ziv. How are you doing?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. And I'm all good, deep into prep now, a few weeks out. So a bit tired, a bit hungry, but that's the game. The last weeks are always like this, but I'm okay.
So true. I'm excited to hear more about your prep, but I'm going to start by asking you if there's anything you do or think about right before your heel hits the stage.
Like usually or for this year especially?
Well, if you have anything new you're doing or anything you usually do, we'd love to hear that.
Something that is very important for me is visualization. So like I really like to visualize myself on the first place, winning the show. I visualized my pro card before to win it, my Olympia qualification. So I'm visualizing a top 10 for this year. I would love to be able to do a top 10 at Mr. Olympia. So yeah, visualization. I do a lot of meditation also every day, and on show day too. So yeah, that's something that is very important for me. Yeah, this prep is being a little bit harder than usually because it's the first time I took a off season since I turned pro. So I gained a lot of weight, and the goal was to gain a lot of muscles. So now to lean down and to have like lower calories, it's getting a little bit more difficult than the prep I did before, where I used to get to stay lean quite all year.
Yeah. Definitely. And by the way, I didn't mention this, but you guys, we're also recording video. So if you want to watch this podcast, go to YouTube celestial_fit and you'll be able to watch us there. But Laura, let's actually talk about your current prep because you brought up an interesting point, which is all your previous shows, you've really just kept going and going. You haven't really had an improvement season. And I was surprised by the consistent improvements you were able to make, but it sounds like you left the Olympia and you were like, okay, let's take even more time to build. So what was your feedback and what have you worked on in that improvement season?
The feedback was overall more muscles on my entire body and mostly upper glutes. And the thing is that I stopped working out upper glutes for like a few months because I was told by my coach that my glutes were too large, and so we tried to keep on like doing kickback and hip thrust, and to really like don't integrate in my booty workouts some like medius and smaller glutes. So that was quite an easy feedback actually, because we were like, okay, we stopped for 6 months to work out like this part of my glutes, so let's like start doing it again. And I've had a lot of food. I also had a lot of change in my personal life, like I separate from my husband, So I left Mexico. I was living in Tulum with him, and I went back to France. So it was a lot of changes. So it was quite difficult, like psychologically also. So this off season was not the easiest one to stay on good healthy food all the time. I did a few mistakes. My coach wasn't that happy at some but now it's okay. I'm getting ready little by little. I'm like 9 weeks out. I was supposed to start shows again beginning of July, and actually we decided to wait until end of July to be able to be really ready. And to don't have to travel all around like I had planned to do. So my coach said maybe it will be interested this year to compete a little bit more in Europe. So that's the goal.
That's really amazing. So I'm going to kind of go back through that journey and we'll cover some of those different points. But not only did you get feedback to put on muscle everywhere, but you also made big changes in your personal life. And then your game plan for this prep has had to look different because it's the first time you've taken an improvement season. So with an improvement season, there's different psychological needs, personal needs, and then your body's needs. So now you're adjusting to a new physique, a new version of yourself. You've put on the muscle mass. You, of course, when we put on muscle mass and we go in reverse, we're going to put on body fat as well. So you're learning, okay, I didn't stay as lean, obviously, if you're going show to show, but you made the improvements. It sounds like that you're ready to push for the end of July to compete and mainly focus on Europe shows.
Yeah. Because I was like up to 67 kilos. When I started bodybuilding, I was never going more than 50 kilos. So it's like a lot of weight for me. And also it was a good like personal work, mental work, psychological work
Yes.
to be able to love myself, to learn to love myself with more curves, with some fat and whatever, with a big round face and
Yeah.
cheeks. But it's okay. I did a few photo shoots. It was more difficult to pick some pictures I like, but I learned. I did the job properly, I think, and I learned to love myself in all the different shapes of the year, and I'm not afraid anymore to gain weight if it's necessary.
That's awesome. That right there, I think, is the big win in itself, is you were able to show up as a professional athlete in their improvement season to bring something better, and you embraced that process. So now you're setting yourself up to be able to do that. If you need to do it again, you'll be able to do it.
Yeah, totally. Like I told you, just a little bit more difficult now to reduce food. And because that was also a little bit of my mistake, to be honest, because I wasn't all the time on clean food. It was more difficult to lose the fat afterwards. So I made my life a little bit more difficult than it could have been. So this is a mistake I won't do again. If I need to go back on off season, I will really keep on track all the time. Because when I received my reverse diet after Olympia, I stick to it like a few weeks. And then I said my coach, okay, you know what? I need to get totally off diet. I really need to just eat whatever I feel. Because also I was back in France after 3 years without having being in France. So I was seeing all this food, like,
Yeah.
all the French cheese, and I had to enjoy. So I took like almost 2 months completely off diet.
Wow. How did that benefit you mentally and personally at the time?
It was really nice. More for the social part also, to be able to have dinner with family and to eat the same thing than everyone, to be able to just like to don't have to organize all the food for the day if I was going on a trip with some friends. It made life a little bit more easy, a little bit lighter,
I
I would
love
say.
that. And I think when you give yourself permission to experience it that way, you're less likely to overeat and overconsume because you're doing it frequently. So you start to learn your body's cues. You're giving yourself a break. There's a lot less stress. There's a lot less pressure. So you kind of make more intuitive choices.
Yeah, totally. I really think so too. It was a bit more difficult because I was spending a lot of time at my sister's place, and she's got a daughter who's 8 years old. So there is like a lot of bad food here in front of me all the time. So when it was time to get back on track, it was, yeah, it wasn't that easy, but it was all good. I managed it.
Yes, I love your perspective on that. Like you needed the little break, you gave it to yourself. Now you're in prep mode. Yes, you recognize the learning opportunities through that experience. Like, okay, maybe I won't do it to that level, but I can find some happy medium next time. And you saw the benefits, not just mentally and personally and socially, but also physique wise, taking that time off, making the improvements. So now that you've done that, like what are you seeing on your physique? Like, do you feel you've made what you needed to make to actually hit top 10?
I am not totally sure about it because I think I still need more muscles. That's that's not what I'm thinking actually. For me, I gained a lot. I'm like 63 kilo right now, and I'm getting really lean already. And I was at 53 on stage, so I'm like 10 kilos more than on stage last year. And I'm getting really lean. Like I got veins on my abs, and I got the whole like separation coming on my hamstrings and glutes. So I'm really not fat anymore. And I've actually also asked for the smaller slim tum. So it's like my waist is getting smaller, and I'm really getting stage ready, and I'm so heavy. So like I said to my coach, I was like, I think the video and pictures, because every time I see people telling me like that I look so much bigger in reality than on picture or video. And right now, for me, I'm quite big for a bikini when I compare to my friends who are actually top 10 bikini, like Maureen or Ivana, who are good friends of mine. I think I'm quite big. So yeah, I think now it's more about working on my flexibility. And it's more the attitude on stage also. I need to regain some more confidence also to go there to win. And yeah, because I'm okay with my posing. I feel totally confident and good on my posing, but it's more on the energy. Like I still have a little lack of self-confidence. Also to be on a very difficult relationship for the last years. I was competing, but it was really not easy at home. So my this relationship wasn't helping me to shine as bright as I could. So I think this year it's going to be different.
Right. I would like to hear a little bit more about how that relationship affected you, because I think it's an underrated part of being a successful athlete is who are you having in your circle? Who's supporting you? Like who's your number one, right? Like do you have that support system? And it sounds like you had to leave a really difficult relationship. What got you to actually leave, and how did it feel when you did leave?
I'm still married for now, so we are separate, but I'm still married with my husband. But it was also sort of my fault because I went deep into competitions, and he stopped competing because when we started, it's him who were competing first, and it's him who made me wanted to compete the first time. So we started when we moved to Mexico, and we were in the United States in 2020. When I started the season in 2021, he started the season with me at Clash Championship, and he qualified for nationals. But then he stopped competing because he was building the company and working a lot. So it was also sort of my fault because to be able also to assume all my expenses because I had no sponsor also at this time. So it was costing me a lot of money to be able to compete. And he was working very hard for me to be able to live my dream. But little by little, there is like a big separation that have become between each other. And yeah, we were not like being very intimate in the intimacy. It wasn't that nice, so it was a lack of support. He was like sort of supporting me materially, but not really emotionally. Like I wasn't he was telling me that I wasn't there for him, and I was feeling that he wasn't there for me like I needed neither. So yeah, it's quite sad. It's quite sad, but that's life. I think we do not manage to find the good balance in the relationship. So at some point, he actually stopped coming in show with me because I was crying every time on the day before show, on the travel. It was so much stress.
Yeah.
And so when Olympia were coming in December, I was really, really in a bad situation with my relationship in Tulum. And that's why I decided, I was like, no, my dream is coming true. It's been years that I want to go to Mr. Olympia. I just qualified. I can't take the risk to make this prep not good and to be crying all the time and not happy, because I really believe that when you're not happy in your mind, your body is not reacting the same way. So that's why I went back to France with my family, and I did my prep quietly and surrounded by love and good energy to go to Olympia on the better space in my mind as possible.
Thank you for being so open about that, because I think a lot of us have actually been through those experiences of heartbreak and breakup or loss of relationship, and it's really challenging. And I personally, in my last prep, I was in a 7-year relationship and we were breaking up. Like, I just got my master's degree, I was taking a big exam, and I was prepping for North Americans, which is a national show. And I had just broken up with him like a month before, but we were still living together. And it was like it was just a sad, crazy situation. And I never talked about it because I needed to stay focused on the goal, you know? And then when you free yourself from it, it's like you're able to focus, you feel good. But then I know sometimes after it all kind of hits you. So did you have that where it like hit you after the show?
Yeah, it's more that I realized after like a few months, after the euphoria of Olympia, after going back in France, and because we have the company together, and I sort of realized some of my faults, that I was like deep into competition on social media a lot. It was always telling me like, you're here but you're not here, and that was true. I was so focused on my prep, like posing and training and food and social media, and so with all of this going, like a few weekends on show without him also, it was like I wasn't giving also all my 100% to make this relationship work as it could. So it hit me at some point.
Yeah, I
That's it.
totally get that. Yeah, when you start realizing like the role you played in it too, and you're like, oh, I was doing this, I could have been doing that, or how would it have been different? And it's hard to face those emotions. And you were on that high of the Olympia, which is awesome, and prepping for it. Looking back at that, do you see yourself approaching relationships and competing differently in the future?
Yeah, I think it's more that I don't know if I'll be back with him at some point one day or not. But it's more like I can't rely on someone. I prefer to be able to be 100% autonomous on everything, because we built the company together and he was mostly doing everything on his own. And that was a bad part also. So yeah, if I go back on a relationship, living in a relationship first, I need to be able to share, also to share more about this station, because it's like when you're IFBB Pro, it have to be your entire life around bodybuilding. You need to stretch, you need to do your vacuum, you need to do your posing, your 6 meals per day, your enough sleep. So if the person you're living with is not in the same mood, in the same lifestyle, I think it's difficult. It's not impossible, but I think it's difficult. So it needs to be clear, like my life, it's like this. My ambitions are this, my dreams are this, what are yours, and is it compatible or not?
Yeah, I love that. It's so simple yet necessary. And it's like a hard conversation sometimes to have with people, but you have to be able to prioritize your dreams and support yourself in chasing those dreams, because then you will align with your partner on those dreams too. And I think the right partner will naturally be inspired to support your dreams. They'll want to contribute. They'll want to uplift you. They'll want to find ways to make it easier. If you say you need to work on flexibility, they'll go buy you a yoga wheel, or they'll say, oh, have you practiced your posing today? Rather than, you're not spending time with me because you're practicing your posing. Instead, it's, I love that you're practicing your posing and I'd like to go on a date later this week. It's like
Yeah.
Combination of support.
Yeah. But it's a story of life, finding the good balance in every aspect of life.
Yeah, and you speaking so openly about it is awesome, because it's giving insight and perspective, and I really think that's needed, and it's difficult to discuss because the pain is sometimes still there and those lessons are there. But you opening up about it, I think, is going to help other people to see like whether they could be proactive in prioritizing themselves or their relationship. It's insightful, and I'm really glad that you shared that.
Communication all the time, bringing back the things on the table to find the good balance for making everyone happy. Yeah, for me, to be in a relationship and to make it work, it have to be a real, like a job on each side to make it comfortable and really and like easy and smooth.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not all happiness all the time and everything's about me or everything's about them. It's like they want to prioritize you, you want to prioritize them, and that helps you each prioritize as individuals coming together for a purpose rather than feeling like you're combating purposes. So let's talk about the Olympia, actually, because it sounds like your goal is, of course, to go back there, to place even higher, to beat your last self. You mentioned, actually, before I go to the Olympia, you did mention something, and it was like, oh, I need to talk about that. You said comparing to your girlfriends who were also on stage with you, Maureen and Ivana, I believe you mentioned, you said you're bigger. And I think it's interesting because when I meet bikini pros in person, I'm like, oh, they're actually very petite. Like they've got muscle, they're dense, right? But they're not what we think and we see on that one show picture.
But you know what I've noticed is that for example, these two girls are very flexible. So I believe that when they are pumping, the muscles are coming out better. And on stage, they look bigger and smoother because and more volume because of the flexibility, and they come on the perfect conditioning and they're doing the right pump on backstage. So when they're on stage and these two girls, for example, are amazing people, like inside and out, and they have amazing personality, and they are really like femme fatale, we would say on stage.
Yeah.
They're there to kill it, and they are very experienced since many years, and we can really feel it and see it on stage. So I think that's a difference. It's not about size, but it's more about the flexibility, the whole package, actually.
I love that perspective. And that speaks to what you're working on personally. You said your energy on stage and your flexibility. So because you do a lot of visualization, you meditate on this, what are you seeing yourself do differently?
I don't know. I'm just like seeing myself more confident. It's more about this. More confident and being there to win and to know I can, because I got this thing from my personality and from my education, from my childhood. This comes from my mother, actually. She's always like putting us down a little bit, and always like keeping in mind, you're not better than someone else. But I think this is not true. I made the work since so many years. I worked hard. I go to gym every single day. I am better than a lot of people because I've practiced enough to be able to. So that's something I need to stuck in my mind, you know. I'm not equal to others. I am better. So that's really important to keep this on mind and to work on this mindset to make it reflect outside.
I love that. Yeah, we're like taught like not to think that way, but in reality, we're simultaneously seeking better for ourselves. We're pushing ourselves to learn more or train harder or look a certain way. That automatically assumes there's a better. So if we then hit that level of better, you earn your IFBB Pro card. Technically, you're a pro, which makes you better than an amateur. That's just the facts. And so embracing that, it sounds like, is difficult because you were raised being told you're not better than anyone. But when you look at it from a logical perspective versus an emotional one, you're able to see, like, look at all the work I've done and look where I'm at. I am technically better.
Yeah, I always put myself, I don't see myself where I am. That's something I need to keep in mind. Like also, for example, with personal training, I am the only one in France, the only bikini. We were not a lot of bikini pros in France, but I am the only one who already when I started, I worked with Kim Odo from Body by O.
Yeah.
I stayed with him when I went to Team Atlas. I've put money and a lot of investment on myself. So I got the knowledge that most of the coach here in France don't have. And I really see the difference. Because when I got athletes that come on my team that I start to coach, I'm like, really, they are really not training and eating like they are supposed to for bikini. So I am better than most of these coach in France because I've put the money and the actions and the implication needed to be able to have the knowledge I have now. And I've tried on myself also. So
yes, you've done it yourself, you've learned it, you've studied it, and you've had mentors that you've been able to learn from. So you said specifically there's certain things you see people do that really aren't aligned with the bikini competitor approach that should be being taken. What are some of those maybe mistakes that you see?
This is catastrophic. In France, this is catastrophic. In France, there is a lot of girls who are not working their posing at all. You know, I got my show, the first regional, NPC regional in France is the Laura Ziv Classic every year. And even this year, at the dinner with the judges and the promoter after we were talking, we were like, that is so bad. They don't want to put money on posing. So they come on stage and they don't know how to pose. So there is like maybe one or two girls who know how to pose properly. Most of the girls have no idea about how to put their body properly on the poses that are obligated. Like they don't, it's not like if they don't do the transitions or that it's not like they really don't know how to pose and to walk at all. Yeah. So that's really sad. It's a pity for the sport, you know, like really, it's so bad. And then after there is a lot of girls who just do heavy weights. They don't put waist trainer anytime, so they work a lot of their abs. They have they look very hard, you know, on stage. And also, a lot of coach in France are so dangerous. I got one of my athletes, she almost died because of the coaching she had. Oh, wow. The coach here, they are giving a lot of supplements because they want to take money from the clients. They have no knowledge about bikini, so they work with them like bodybuilders. They make them eat only white fish and asparagus for months, keeping them at like 1,000 calories for years. So it's so dangerous, so bad. Like, and that's why people after are like disappointed about bodybuilding, and they think it's dangerous and it's not healthy, because these coaches are just doing bullshit. You can't do like cut carbs to a girl and fat for like months for a hormone. It's so bad. They lose their period. They are losing their hair. They are getting so like sick all the time and weak. A lot of cardio, tons of cardio, and you're like, no, just eat and eat. You will actually lose weight if you start eating more because you've completely blocked your metabolism. So yeah.
I love your passion. I love that. That was awesome. I'm like, rant.
Yeah, because this is so sad, and even for the image of bodybuilding. That's why people are in France, they're like, oh, it's bad. But because the way it's being done in France is really not that good, unfortunately.
Yeah, that sounds really bad. It sounds like but they're where we were years ago. Like that was the approach we
Exactly.
took years ago. And you're bringing the new perspective. So is that part of what you want to contribute to Europe? Like, is that part of your legacy that you want to leave?
Yeah, it's very important for me. That's why I do mostly posing class. Coaching, I have only 6 athletes and I don't want to have more athletes. I only work with master athletes. I have one girl who's not master, but she's like a friend of mine, and I was coaching her when I used to have my coaching studio in France. So she's the exception. But yeah, I don't have the time. As I am an athlete, I can't have too many athletes because I want to be there for them at 100%. So when I'm on off season, it's okay. But as soon as I got into like shows, more than 6, it's really not manageable properly. So, but yeah, I'm really thinking. I got a fitness app and I'm developing it in a certain way that I'm really gonna go deep into the explanations about how people have to train.
Love that. Why did you decide to only work with masters competitors?
Because it's easier.
Hmm.
It's easier. They don't compare themselves to me. They just listen. They know what they're doing. They are doing it for the right reasons also, not because it's like a fashion or they want to become influencer. So they believe competing will help them this way. It's more healthy most of the time.
I love that. That's awesome. And I think it's great that you see like you have your niche, you have the people you like, you also see what's necessary as a coach to put in. And being an athlete yourself, you want to prioritize the time you're giving them. And it does take a lot out of you. It's gonna also require a lot from them. So you have to be very present. But you do posing coaching as well. Now, do you do that only for your clients or do you offer it globally?
No, I offer it globally. I was doing some when I was in Mexico in Spanish, for example, also, but yeah, I do online.
That's amazing. Okay, good. So, do you notice a difference between the posing in Europe compared to America?
Yeah, yeah. There is a lot of girl in Europe who, like I told you, have never posed. They don't practice at all.
Yeah.
So it's only the few who are taking posing class that are really getting involved. And actually, at the show, the judges told me they were like, "Oh, I'm sure this one she's coached by you on posing." I was like, "Yeah." Like the two girls who were the one who won the overall and the second one, both were my posing clients.
That says a lot.
Yeah, you could see the difference really.
It speaks
So
to your point about how important it is to present and have flexibility and do the right pumps, but also to present yourself well.
yeah, I always send to my posing clients for free ebook with all the stretches that they need to do every time, every day to improve the flexibility of lower back and yeah, to be able to do all the twists, with the upper body, keeping the glutes on the side and all of this. Yeah.
What are some of your favorite moves or things to focus on for flexibility?
Like some yoga, all the yoga poses, with the like round back and the cobra pose. Um, yeah, all the poses that are actually like twisting the lumbar part when you put your leg on the side or the other. All this works very well.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, I think it's easy to let posing and flexibility fall to the last priority. But when you think about it, that's what's ultimately going to be showcasing all the work you've been doing every day.
Totally. And I always say the example that if you have two girls who are very close on the physique, at a few points, if there is one who's posing better, she will win. Actually, that's for me what happened in Pittsburgh Pro with Ashley and Amy, for example. Like Amy won. Yeah, apparently they were 1 point different with Ashley. Ashley won all the shows all the time, but they were very close physically. Ashley was a little bit more conditioned, and Amy had a better posing. You know, she was more confident. She didn't lose her balance at any time. So she won.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like they were so close and it was so competitive, but you did notice little differences in the posing that just helped present the physique differently. Have you ever been told that you can't heal your relationship with food unless you stop competing? Or do you feel like a lost cause because every time you've tried to heal your relationship with food, you're always met with the same challenges, judgment, shame, and guilt? But you're ready to get to that root of your relationship with food and really understand your habits and behaviors and make lasting changes that are going to drive you forward in your competition goals as well as your life. And of course, if you don't want to stop competing in this sport that you love, but you also don't want to continue down the rabbit hole that is setting you back in your life, emotions, and potential for success on stage, I want you to know that you can get through this. And no, you do not have to stop competing in order to do so. You truly deserve to have successful preps, productive improvement seasons, and peace of mind year round. Because when your head is full of thoughts of food, eating, or guilt, you cannot invest that energy into the goals you truly care about, which is a big reason why I launched the 5-week food relationship program and why it has been my most highly demanded program to help competitors like yourself make peace with food so they can pursue the sport they love for the long run without having to worry about sacrificing their mental health. If you want to learn more about this program and hear from others who have done it, then visit www.celestial.fit/foodfreedom. Scroll through that page, get some information, and if you're inspired and you are ready to take action on this, go ahead and apply to work with me, and I will be getting back to you within 24 to 48 hours to go over your application and discuss your concerns specifically to determine if and how I can support you. Again, that is at www.celestial.fit/foodfreedom. So let's talk about the Olympia experience for you because you want to do it again. But what was it like to actually realize your dream of being on the Olympia stage?
It was amazing. Yeah, it was so nice. Even to see again, like all the girls I was competing with since years, and to be all together there. No, that was magical in Vegas because my first NPC show ever was Olympia Vegas in amateur in 2019.
Oh,
So when I went there, I was watching the pro show and I was like, one day, the next time I'll come back here, I'll be on that stage. Well, I wasn't on the same stage because it was the final stage when I thought this. At least, at
yes.
least I was. So I was very happy that it was in Vegas also.
Yeah, that's like a full circle moment.
Exactly.
How did
No, that
Oh, go ahead. What'd you say?
no, that it was perfect. This
And
week, this Olympia week was just amazing.
there were a lot of competitors.
Yeah, you're 53, I think, 53 or 54.
Yeah, how was that? Like backstage, was it very busy? Was it like you were waiting to get on? Like how was that experience?
I'm always having so much fun on backstage.
I love that.
I'm someone who's really not tired and just excited. So I just dance and jump around and going to talk with everyone. So I had love.
That's awesome. I think that's so cool. And did that experience compare to other experiences you had, like other shows leading up to it, or was it completely different?
No, it was just a little bit longer, I would say.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time backstage, but I like the fact that there were a whole gym to be able to
Yeah.
work out, to do the pump. No, and it was really nice to see everyone. Like Maureen was there, Ivana was there, Alison was there, Jessica was there. Like all the girls that I really appreciate and that I love spending time with on backstage was there. So it was just magical.
That's awesome. I think it's really special, the relationships that get built in this sport and how we can see a lot of the same people at the same shows, or we know them online and we've connected online and then we get to spend time with them backstage. It's really awesome.
Yeah, really. That's one of my favorite part of bodybuilding. To be able to meet so many people that share the same passion and same vision of the world than you. So yeah, it's beautiful. I
How
love
did
that.
you even discover bodybuilding?
That was with my husband when we were doing our personal training diploma. When we were at school together, he did a show. He did his first show. So I was still into drugs and alcohol at this time. My lifestyle wasn't that healthy, and I had a big lack of organization in my life and structure. So it inspired me a lot when I saw him like preparing his meal and being so serious with all of this. I wanted to prove myself I would be able to do it too. So I've decided to stop completely drug and alcohol and to go into a prep. At the beginning, I was like, I would just do one to prove myself I can do it. But then it went so well and I placed well immediately. So I was like, that's my thing.
I love
I like that.
that. That is so
Yeah,
awesome that you had that experience and it took you out of drugs and alcohol. When you were partying a lot and you were into the drugs and alcohol, did you recognize it as a problem, or was it not until you got out of it that you looked back and saw that it was a problem?
no. I was totally conscious about how bad it was.
Hmm.
So I was really not happy that I started my mother grew up in Ibiza in the 70s, so she was a drug addict for many years. So it was always like sort of normal to see her like smoking joints at home. And but when my father died, I really like it was to forget about life, about responsibility, to don't assume to become an adult. Uh, and I was very spoiled. I had a very beautiful and very easy and happy childhood. I was a very spoiled girl, so I didn't want to face reality. So that's why I was taking drugs. But my conscience knew totally that it was wrong. That I was feeling that I was wasting myself, like really, because I've traveled a lot since I'm very young. So I've always been very open-minded. I've never been very interested in school, but I know that I'm not stupid and that I'm a good person. So I was like, I deserve better for my life. And also my dad would not be happy to see me like this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's really interesting. So you lost your father, and even though you had a really great, secure childhood where you had everything you needed and all your needs were met, you did have some influence from your mother that maybe wasn't super positive, but you did turn down the partying path more so as an escape, it sounds like, from facing maybe some of the emotions that you were going through.
Yeah, it was totally to escape because I stopped to talk with my mom for a few years at some point. She was cheating on my father my entire childhood. So when I had the choice, the age to choose, I decided to go to live with my dad, and they separate at this time. So I can't. She's a very nice person. Like really, she's full of love, but her lifestyle and what she's doing of her life, for me, she's wasting her life. Like
Hmm.
I don't understand how she can live like this and be in peace and happiness in her mind. So she's not a model, I don't wanna do like her. And I did totally like her when I went into drugs and stuff like that. I followed her path instead of because my dad was a brilliant man. He was like a Freemason. He was into politics. He was a very one of them the bigger like professor on transportation, urbanism, and tourism. So he was like very brilliant, and
Yeah.
all my other brother and sisters from my dad's part are all engineer. So I had this pressure of being like good at school, and that was a little dark duck. I don't know if we say that in English. No, we would say dark sheep, I think, in English, maybe. Because, yeah, I've never, I never liked school. I never liked to stay on the. I've always wanted to think in my own way, so being in school wasn't my thing.
And you've really made your own path. So I think you have a lot of the brilliance of your father, and you have a lot of maybe the free, we could say, free spirit and loving nature of your mother as well. And if we wanted to take it to a more positive thing, because I know you said really positive things, it was just not, she's not the role model you wanted, but you had pressure from your dad's side as well, but you really made an amazing life for yourself. You've become a professional athlete. You're a digital nomad. You built multiple companies. You've sold multiple companies as well, and you've mastered your own craft. So I want to talk a little bit about the businesses, because you had started things more so brick and mortar, but then after the pandemic, you moved everything online. So how was that compared to working in person?
But that was nice at the beginning. But then I stopped totally coaching at some point because I was giving too much of myself. I was offering stuff all the time. I was spending hours on the phone with clients that was paying me nothing.
Yes.
So when I turned pro, I actually stopped to work for some time. And I that was my bad part in my relationship, is that um most of the money we had was from the heritage from my dad. So my husband have put all of it, not all of it, but a big part of it on cryptocurrency. And we've built the company that is called Living 5D. That I was supposed like to grow the part that is going to be more about sport and nutrition, and it was more into the personal development and finance part. And there are also the part of like spirituality, because that is very present in our life. And the 5D, 5 dimensions, so nutrition,
Yeah.
sport, spirituality, and yeah, I've put all the pressure on him because I let him completely develop the company on his own.
Yeah.
It's my company, but it's mostly him, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've actually broke my relationship, because he got a little bit lost also. It's not only me, because he got a little bit lost with guru of personal development and stuff like this that have made him lost his feet from the ground at some point. So but it's beautiful. This company is really working well. Like now we have a few traders that works for us. We did a lot of mistakes also with cryptocurrency. We've lost so much money by putting money on platforms that were promising us a lot of rentability and stuff like this. So we have actually built a system where people like they can still own their own crypto, their own money, but the robot, like the traders, are making it work for them. And we are actually developing it in a way that we want people to be able to have access to nutrition and training plans for free. As if they put the money, like for example, I am €200 per month for coaching, nutrition, and in the gym. So if someone will put €2,000 on the robot that makes around 10% per month, it will pay me automatically, and people won't pay their coaching. And whenever they want to stop coaching with me, they just can take back their €2,000.
Interesting.
And the extra money that have been made, if there is extra money that have been made. So it's something that can really change a lot of things also, because it's gonna be able to give access to, because in France a lot of people are not able to put money on personal training, or so that's gonna be a good solution.
That's really interesting. So essentially they're investing through crypto, and through that investment, you're getting a percentage of what they're making, and that's covering their training.
Exactly.
Interesting. So you're very creative. You've got a lot of like, you think about what's the problem, how could we solve it with what we have or what we're developing. You also mentioned that sometimes people get lost in the personal development world, and I personally have seen this as well. Like when I first got into the personal development world, it was like, you know, amazing, it's life-changing, you're learning so much, but then you see a bit of the dark side. And there is a dark side, unfortunately. It's there's been parodies about it, right? Like comedies about it. And it's actually very true generally. I don't know if you saw that one show or movie where it was like 10 Perfect Strangers and they're all on like this retreat and they end up realizing it's almost cultish and it's crazy. So anyway, if you haven't seen that, I think it's a great one. It's very
Okay,
funny.
you'll send it to me then.
Yeah, I'll write it down to send it to you because when I watched it, I was like, unfortunately, this happens. Like it really does. We get so wound up in it. So I think it's interesting you mentioned that. So how do you stay
Yeah,
grounded while still pursuing personal development for yourself?
but I think it's important to get organized, to have things done, but to also have time to let it go. And
Mm,
if you're tired, sometimes it's okay to don't do it and you'll push more the other day. When you're
yeah.
close, very close to show, obviously you can't think like this. When it's about like a sort of, but actually, yes, you can, because it's going to be more stressful for your body and you will make more cortisol to be completely stressed than to just let it go.
Yeah.
So once again, it's a story of life of finding the good balance between pushing and going for your limits and being serious and taking some time to relax and to enjoy life and to have fun.
Yes, I find this to be like our personal threshold where we can push our threshold, but we do have a limit. So we can't act like the limit doesn't exist. I've done that. We have to keep pushing it, yes, so we can pursue more, be better, but also respect the threshold enough where we're able to sustain an upward trend versus the up and down, because you push, and then you crash, and then you push because you crashed.
Totally, exactly.
So you're also in real estate, right?
We were, yeah, before to be in crypto. We bought apartment and renovated to sell it. Yeah.
That
With
is
the
super
money,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. From the gym, we had the gym also. We were doing specialized in electrostimulation, and we were about to develop the concept in France because it was really nice. I really love this. It works so well. It's not very famous in United States for now. There is not a lot of EMS. I don't think a lot of people are using EMS. No, it's a like question. Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm not
But
sure. Like, are you talking about the things where you put the like stickies on and then you're
but it's not stickies. It's like a big jacket or all combination, like a whole jumpsuit, and
oh
you got
no,
the
I don't know
electrodes
about
that
that.
are like integrate on it,
Wow.
and it works so well. Like really, I had amazing results, and people loved it. And it works as well to lose weight and to get more endurance and to gain muscles. It have a lot of benefits also for anti-cellulite and the to lose water. Like no, it's brilliant. It's really nice, and that's something I would like maybe in the few years to develop it a little bit more worldwide.
I think that would be an awesome goal. I know you've posted about like you want an empire, you want to build something really, really amazing. So, what's part of that vision aside from what you just mentioned? What else is like, what do you envision when you think of building an empire?
We actually want to be able to do this with this company. We want to develop some ecological fields for food.
Oh,
We want to make some sort of residencies. Um, oh, I don't, sorry. Some residencies where it's going to be like 100% autonomous, and people who will own our cryptocurrency, because the company have its own crypto, that is the price of it is based on the rentability of the company. So people will be able to go on the whole ecosystem to buy food, to go travel, to go on sort of Airbnb, because it will be the residences where they would have gym and co-working spaces and meditation places. and they would be able to have like nutrition plan and training plan, all of this, like for with like to have money that just turn around, no money, just energy in a certain way, and people can just like share services and a sort of new world where it would not be about money but about sharing experiences and knowledge all together.
Interesting. So it's kind of like I think it'd be like a co-op, but with more so exchanges of services and self-sustainability within the community.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
because we see that coming more and more in Tulum, for example. There's a lot of residencies that are autonomous and people
Mhm.
are like, don't work anymore. They don't need to work anymore. The money is working for them. And they just like offer some services and knowledge and things that they know. And I think the world could little by little turn like this, actually.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like there's a big shift to wanting to be more free and have personal control over finances and wellness versus giving up a lot of that control.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, because most of the people just don't know how money works. So they don't know how to to deal with their own expenses, and they lose money in very stupid ways. So it's more about being aware about how much you need and what's necessary to do to have it, and little by little be able to thrive without wanting too much. Also, it's not necessary to have too much money. I think if you have like just what needs to live and to do whatever you want, you don't need to open more and more and more company or work more and more, like a lot of people that are starting to make money. They just want more and more and more for themselves, when you just don't need to own things. When you just share with everyone, you can share without owning, but for yourself, and it can be good.
Yeah, it's a
And
very different perspective.
yeah, voila.
I think it's great though, because you're thinking ahead, and you mentioned being aware of your finances. And so when I think about that, I'm like, financial well-being isn't prioritized enough, I don't think, across the board for most people, or even just financial understanding, like education. So what are some things you've personally done to support yourself in the financial growth needed to support yourself and your life, as well as build on these streams?
But it's mostly organization.
Hmm.
Organization, and my husband have actually built a few courses with like budget plans, and all the different investments that are possible into crypto, into gold, into companies, into all different things. And then you just need to like figure out how much comes in and how much you need to put out to be able to have what you need to have, what you need to be happy. And then that's it. After, it's just about, yeah, investing enough to be like feeling good in your brain and to don't have to stress out, and trying to help as much possible. But the crazy thing is that when you understand these things and you try to help people, people don't want to be helped
Yeah.
also,
Why do you think that is?
because they don't believe it's possible, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's like so much easier for people to just live like the status quo rather than see maybe, oh, if I take, because a lot of times it could be a risk, right? A risk. So if I take my money and put it here, I can no longer tangibly see it, right? But I want to believe it's growing for me, but it's hard because I can't feel it. I can't see it. It's not in my bank account. So I think people question it because it's risky in that regard,
Yeah,
maybe.
it's taking the risk also. Yeah, taking risks. I think good things happens when you take risks.
Yeah.
If you just stay there and wait, it's more difficult to have great things coming. I'm gonna try to turn the light on, maybe,
Yeah.
because it's getting dark.
I
Yeah.
just noticed it got like very dark very fast. At first I was like, it's pretty light out there for 8 p.m. And now I'm like, wow, it's getting dark fast. Um,
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about, since you are in prep, I just kind of wanted to round out this podcast before I get your best advice with what your show plans are. You said you want to compete in Europe. You're going to compete probably in 9 weeks is the plan. So what are you, like, what's your game plan?
Initially, I wanted to do Texas Pro and Columbia Pro. It's still somewhere on the corner of my head, to be honest. Even if James told me it would be better to don't, but I'm still thinking about it. But for now, the first show will be on the 30th of July in Benidorm, so in Spain. I never competed in Spain. It's like 1 hour drive from where my mother lives, so it will be easy. So it's gonna be, yeah, that's gonna be normally the first show. Then there is a show I absolutely want to do because I was invited to Arnold UK last year and I didn't went. I didn't compete it, so I was feeling a little bad to don't. Yeah, because I know also the promoter of the show because he's also the one who's doing the shows in France. So I was feeling quite bad about that. So there is and it's gonna be an amazing show. Also, the True Athletes, True, how they call it? Yeah, True Athletes. I think no, True Athletic. The on the 13th of August, a big show in UK. So
that's awesome.
Because they're not doing the Arnold Classic anymore, but they're doing this show. So that's a show. It's like a big festival of many sports. It's gonna be a big thing.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah, in London. It's easy for me to go to London. It's like 1 hour flight, and I love UK. Also, I love London, so it's gonna be nice. And then there is also 2 Yamamoto show. So one in Italy and one in France. I absolutely want to do. I think I will go for the one in Italy. I think it's beginning of first weekend of September. Then there is middle of September the European Championship, I think in Spain, and then there is end of September the French Pro Show, which is a Yamamoto Pro. Maybe not this year, but last year was a Yamamoto Pro Show. So it's more that I want to compete in my country, so it's a big thing. Also.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. And that's a lot of shows.
Hopefully, I will qualify for Olympia in one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. You've done it before. You could do it again.
Yeah.
Because you won the Two Bros Pro show and qualified, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was in UK.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's a very exciting season ahead for you.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And mostly to see how I'm gonna look like.
I know.
So much more weight.
You're like unwrapping a present that you've been working on for yourself for so long.
Yeah. James told me at my last check-in a few days ago, like yesterday, actually, no, before yesterday, he said I still need to drop 5 kilos.
Oh.
So I'm like 63. So it will be 58. And I was between, I think the heaviest show last year was 55.
Oh.
The heaviest I was on show. So it's going to be like a lot of kilos more.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's going to be so cool to see. I can't wait to see the comparison. And actually, I should ask you, what kept you from doing the Arnold?
I can't remember. I think it was I needed to slow down. I can't remember when was the day. Yeah, it was no. Okay, no. It was to gain more muscles.
You needed the
James told me, yeah, to be able to be more competitive at Olympia.
Yeah, that must have been a hard choice.
Yeah.
But it pays off.
I hope. Yeah, because Olympia was my best shape of the whole year. Really. My physique had evolved a lot from when I qualified to an Olympia. So from July to December.
Yes, that's a lot of time. We underestimate what we could do, but you definitely brought a much improved package.
Yeah, so let's do even better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's awesome. And now you get this opportunity to compete at this huge festival, which is cool. You've made the improvements. You get to see that unveiled. You get to enjoy these competitions. And I would love to ask you now, what is your best advice for someone who has never competed before but would like to? And then your best advice for someone on their road to pro?
Okay, so my best advice for someone who's never competed is to do it for the right reason and to find the right people to surround you with. So a coach that you really feel supported by, that really understands and listens to you, because we don't fit with anyone, with our personality, we're all different. So a coach it's not because it's a famous coach in your country that it's necessarily the best for you. So that's something important, and it's gonna take so much of your time and of your energy and of your family life and all of this, that you need to do it because you really want to do it for yourself and to prove things to yourself and not for other people, because it will be too much. And for someone who wants to become pro, it's to really put the investment needed, to give your 100% on your prep, to take posing classes. Even the pro, we are all taking posing classes. Taking posing class, taking the good bikini, putting the price on the right bikini, on the right shoes, on the right jewels, on the right hair, on the day, not doing your turn by yourself. Like all of these little details make actually a big difference.
Absolutely. Thank you for that advice and just for everything you've shared today. You're so easy to talk to. Like, your openness and willing to share is really amazing and admirable. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you too. It was really, really nice to talk with you.
Yeah, you as well. And I want everyone to connect with you, follow your journey. So how can they find you?
I'm on Laura Ziv official on Instagram. I got a Laura Ziv YouTube channel, but there's a few videos in English, but most are also in French. But I'm gonna develop it more. And yeah, you have my website also to book posing class on my link in my bio. You can find everything for coaching, because I'm complete on my team of athletes, but I still have some availabilities for like lifestyle coaching. And I really feel and need this to be happy in my mind, in my heart, to help people to love themselves. So it's really something that I need. And that's really something I do when I coach people. It's not just a training plan and a diet. It's really like learning to love and to be inside their body. So yeah, everything on my link in my bio on Instagram, and
Beautiful. I will put all of that in the show notes. So you guys, that's always on www.celestial.fit/podcast. If you're listening right away, Laura's episode will be at the top of the page. If you're listening in the future, scroll down to the category section and you will find it alphabetized. And not only will you find the links that we just mentioned, but you are also going to see a full summary of the episode. You're going to see topics that we covered in a bulleted list, and you're going to see the timestamps. So not only can you go back and listen to your favorite parts, but you can also tell your friends, your teammates, family to listen to this episode and why you think that they should listen to it, and tell them all about it. Of course, we always appreciate when you guys tag us on social media, letting us know you loved it or what your takeaways were. That's always super awesome, not just for me, but for the athletes. So thank you guys for tuning in and listening. And Laura, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And I hope you all have.
Hope to meet you at some point.
What was that?
Hope to meet you at some point in shows.
Oh my gosh, yes. That would be amazing. I would love that so much, especially at the next Olympia.
Yeah,
I plan to be there, so I will see you there for sure.
Awesome.
Yay. Okay, cool. Well, thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.
Bye-bye.